Marisa, welcome to People Legal.
Hey, David, good to be here.
Yeah, for our audience, could you give an introduction to yourself?
I began as a traditional lawyer. I am still a lawyer. I have an office in Oporto, where I'm originally from. I moved to the Netherlands, so I like to say that I have one foot in one country, the other foot in the other. I became a remote worker before the expression of remote workers were there, because I was trying to adjust to a decision that I made of marrying a Dutch person and trying to articulate the changes of my own life. So I've been an in-house, I've been lecturing, supervising internships, and at this point of my career, more than 20 years past, I'm thinking that I have pretty much a 360 view. On top of that, the only thing I really liked in the law degree was philosophy of law. So the deep thinking of the system. Why do we have the system? What is the basis of the system? And what can we do with it? I'm really eager for the conversations of what we could build beyond the system we have.
We're talking about the average person, their understanding of the law and access to justice and all this sort of these topics, just the basic education levels of the major decisions you make in life. People aren't there.
No, for me, as a law student already, but later on in life, I imagined that the way that states treat us, it's almost like a fraud, because they will tell you, you need to know the law, but they don't educate you to the law at all.
Yeah.
So for me, that is still the huge problem we have. If you don't have literacy, you don't know what you're talking about. And I think it's very comfortable for governance to continue to push down this narrative, while we as citizens should really start pushing to have the basic knowledge toolkit for our own life, and that we know how to operate as citizens, knowing our rights, but knowing our obligations, and knowing how can we act towards our lives and not be a passive agent of what others want for us.
In a school environment, they learn mathematics, they learn a language, they learn science, they learn geography, they learn all those things. Should law be one of those mandatory subjects they have in their school system?
What I would start with children, and I have my own, is also a little bit before you bring them the law as a concept that is extremely heavy, I would bring them the basic knowledge of conflict and conflict management, because that is a very important element of human relationships that do then have a legal dimension.
They do.
And so I would bring that capacity to the children, understand what that is, and then really also bring what is the dimension of the citizenship that they have. And law is just one of them. Understanding what is a government, what are courts, and the relationship between people. What are you as a citizen? That you do have rights, but you have obligations. And we need to put this in a language that is very, very easy for them to understand. And children have a very interesting sense of justice. People that have children know, and especially if they're brothers or sisters, say, well, this is not fair. The concepts of fairness. Early age, we engage with this concept very easy. So as we mature, and of course, as you would go in school path, by the time they would be in high school, you really could bring much more concept of law itself.
Yes.
And you could bring basic concepts of what are the dimensions of law that you know they're going to need to deal with. And I keep saying commercial contracts in general, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, those basics, labor law, because maybe you're going to have a job and that part needs to be done, and family and relationship are extremely important, because most of us will be in that sphere, and we should be prepared and anticipating and not reacting. So we imagine a world where you would have that empowerment as a citizen, and you know what we're talking about. You could also solve much more of your own problems without the need of the huge complexity that we created around.
So how do you get people to know what they don't know?
Well, I created an organization based on that question alone. That's my smile, because the question was, do we know what we need to know? And with that, in 2019, I created Humanity of Things Agency. And actually last September, together with some other stakeholders, we start what is the seed of legal literacy as one of the elements of the Literacy 21, that is literally the knowledge base toolkit. So, and what would we need to know to be active citizens in the 21st century? So law is just one of the elements, but for me in particular, of course, being a lawyer, having had the call to to fight for justice, because we don't talk so much about justice sometimes in this event. You hear a lot about commercial legal services. It's part of the same conversation, but justice is the pillar of free societies. When justice collapses, our freedom collapses. So if we don't understand that we need to fight for this lady justice, beyond, of course, all the commercial endeavors that we see, all the companies. Yes, of course, it's a market, but justice is beyond this market, is in a total different level of thought.
So is it a government's responsibility to educate the citizens? I guess who actually owns that responsibility?
At this moment, in my own personal belief, I think citizens need to organize themselves, and organizations that are civil society stakeholders are the ones that also need to make others accountable for what they are not doing. And they can also be the promoters of these conversations in a way that is not a business interest or a governmental /politics/ideologies. So it's citizens to citizens. It's like, at the end of the day, we all go home. You are a citizen in the end. That is your hat beyond your business that you need to defend. And I think as we are now going to progress and facing all this pressure that technology is bringing, that the turmoil we're living, we will reconcile the idea that justice is much more than we thought. It's not just courts to do cases and lawyers and fees. It's also part of our own intrinsic values of existence, of our own civilization. I think, yes, governments need to, but if they didn't till now, I cannot continue to wait for them. And that's where the second claim your agency comes from. We as citizens, we as individuals, we should have the capacity to say, no, it's not up to them, it's up to me first.
The phrase is, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. There's going to be some people that don't go along for the journey. There might be 10 or 20% of people go to, stuff it. I don't really care about being a citizen or what it actually entails.
That on itself makes the ones who believe in this point be a little bit almost like heroes for the other ones. And talking about children, it's the same metaphor. The ones who care will care for the ones who don't. And by the time this problems knock on their door, hopefully the ones who care are the line that keeps things holding together. We will always have people that don't care. I'm really comfortable with that at this point. I'm also very comfortable in thinking that if I was given the awareness and the capacity to fight for the others, I will do so. So, and not say to them, oh, but they are not doing it. But why should I care? I care because if this is like a garden. If I take care of the garden, everything will be good. If some of them are just there sitting and enjoying it, it's okay by me.
That makes sense. What's technology's role in giving people access to education, literacy, legal literacy, and I guess access to justice?
I think we can really use the technology to bring these topics to people in a very easy way. And more than also the heaviness of the law, like I said, working in language. We made the system so complex that you really needed the big professionals to break the puzzle, when most of the time that language was made more difficult than it should be. So as we talk about the technology, we should also start thinking about the design thinking of the system. Imagine that you are an architect. You can say, I have so many problems and bring all this technology to the house. Or you can say, okay, I have technology that can help me, but I could have designed a better house. And the better house would made things much easier. Simple example, you have a judge in America. You see them on this beautiful reels, and he's an older gentleman, and he does what I call fast humanized justice. With small claims, a person arrives, he talks with the person, and you see that justice, something that you as a human would like to have. Because there's an element of wisdom, there's an element almost of compassion. And also that's what do we want with the law and the justice? It should not be a mechanized system, and that's actually what we should fight for now. It's the human in me that sees the human within you, and there's values that we should go beyond, or else we're going to be machine people run by machine minds, and we will lose what is the best within us. And justice is not about vengeance or like this very mathematical things. We are humans and we want that compassion as well. We want elements of other human skills that, we just need to preserve that a lot. And technology will just be a good conductor of that information, because can I imagine I can reach kids and make them be agents of this in a very different way. You also need to become more playful. This is a topic that is so exciting, that is almost like superhero, and we make it so boring. So let's bring the superheroes of all these kids and make them feel like they're agents of justice, but in a good way, not like self-righteous. And no, let's bring this force that is within.
Do you think AI is a leveler? Do you think AI actually enables literacy and justice and access to justice?
For the ones who have the capacity of understanding what they read and interact, it's going to be a superpower. For the ones that obtain the information, like that information is what is, and nothing is more to be said, it's a high dangers. And what I do with my children is literally to explain them how to prompt, how to give context to the information, how to continue to validate, because it's almost like you keep going till you understand what you're saying. And for now that this AI is still, of course, product of LLMs, we're still not in singularity. We're still not really with this intelligence, right? So it's not, we're still not there, which means that many of the things we receive is not what we want. And we need augmented human intelligence that can interact with the machines, but to be augmented, not to be substituted. And at the same time, we really need to start being very aware, safeguards. How are we going to audit all of this? How can we understand risks? But this is not for the kids, this is for the adults in the room. And how are we going to manage interests, lobbies, politics? It's going to be, let's brace ourselves, because it's going to be a hell of a ride in the next years.
It's interesting. It just seems things are faster, but there's always going to be that human bias. So even if there's human oversight of AI, there's always going to be a bias there, because we're humans. We actually have opinions. We have likes and dislikes and that kind of thing.
Culture.
And it's in cultures and things. Everyone's different. Diversity is a beautiful thing. But that is the human oversight. How do you actually get around the issue of human oversight that's fair and just in the context of that world?
For someone that really is what I call now the last analog generation. So this is really, the X generation is really the ones that saw the last part of the world, saw the transition, and are seeing the first backlashes also. I wonder if people would have, some of the people that praise AI the way they do, if they ever put their feet in a court, if they had ever had a problem that they were a part, like a divorce or even a small claim or something and they sit it at that bench. You should design systems. You should design a prison like you're going to be a prisoner.
Yes.
And what I feel is a lack of humanization in these conversations, because there's such a rush for money making. There's such a rush to say that this is going to be so simple. And like I said, and I hear in these rooms, oh, but we have so many claims, we have so many things that people cannot access justice. That's my own prerogative of saying, teach them about conflict, teach them about law first, empower them. They will not need to flood the courts most of the time if the system would be designed differently.
It sounds, Marisa, like you're actually very much in favour of like a mediation style, like more mediation and like where it can be possibly used and self-regulation.
I even go a little bit, I am also a mediator.
Okay,
but
fantastic.
I don't believe in mediation the way we design it. And I'm going to explain why. We need a hybrid. Imagine an arbiter in arbitration, mediation. We need, because what I understood is that a mediator should be a facilitator of communication.
Yeah.
But most of the time, in reality, what people are seeking is for this conductors of possibilities. It's like you arrive and people, he wants A, she wants B, or in this case I said a woman and a man, but it could be just a company. It's almost like becoming the person that is like a creative mind that said, okay, I understand, how can I compose this? And I'm going to give you a few options. And because I give you a few options, you distance yourselves. Because between the two of you, you don't want to cave in.
That's right.
But if I bring you a few options to the table, even then you can navigate them. But I'm bringing you already possibilities. And that requires a lot of creativity.
So that's a big role. That's a really big experience role.
But I think that is the challenge for the big role that we could play now. Yeah. That should be it's a mix of guidance and also looking to the person in front. I had many clients that I literally thought that my role was to be almost like an architect for them to get out. And I could see their pain. I didn't want them to drag them into court because they would not be able to manage that. So
That's your amazing lawyer.
But you need to know a little bit about psychology. You need to know a little bit about culture. You need to know a little bit, and you need to like it. For me, the law was almost like a chess game.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit of strategy. How can I find a way that is less painful and that you don't get out feeling defeated? But I explain the different parts, and then I'm there with you.
Yep.
You see? So I hope that in the future you really have a lawyer that is not that distant image person.
I mean, I'll say this right now. Whenever someone's going to be like, you're a lawyer, it's like going to the dentist. You sort of go, oh, God, I'm scared as hell. It's going to cost me a fortune.
I'll give you an example. One of the things I ask to my clients to do in particular law family law cases, I ask them to start writing what they are going to tell me.
Yeah.
Because the time they're going to tell me and the time I need to process the information and take notes, first of all, by even taking notes as a human or even the AI, I can maybe miss the context or I can miss the importance of what you're telling me. And by writing down, they are already seeing what is really important, because human brains are a little bit for the lazy side. And it's like, oh my God, I don't want to write 2 or 3 pages. So you start doing your own path. And then when I'm talking with you, I will be first your attacker. I say, brace yourself, because now I'm going to tease you. I'm going to really attack you. And it's really unpleasant. Then you prepare to, because most of my colleagues is like, oh yeah, this is your position, right? Like, no. Let me break your position so you could see that in the other side of the aisle.
This is what they're going to say.
And if you are a really good lawyer, this is what I would do to destroy you, in these words. And then people get like that emotional reaction, destroy me. Like, yeah, you're not going to find a good person in the other side. So all of this, it's a journey, and you need to be extremely tactful in trying to understand who is your client, what is real motivation behind that. And even in commercial, I had CEOs going to court just because, and it's a position, it's a statement of that company. So it's so fascinating, this world, that at the same time, I almost get sad that we think that AI can do it all, when it's not. It can be Iron Man, the suit. We want the suit.
We do.
We do.
Marisa, what a wonderful conversation we've actually had. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, David, for having me.
Thank you.